Good day, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Let's actually let me move this. Sorry that I am a single minute late. I just gave a lightning talk on Pokemon the DevOps Bible, so now I'm here. I timed it just perfectly, just had to get set up and move on over here. But welcome to Mastermind Academy. Welcome to what's today? Today is Wednesday. Welcome to Wet Nest Day. It is a stormy Wednesday outside right now. Actually, it's been lightning and storming pretty badly, but everything's all good. Also, first off, let me just tell you this. Anyone who's been around for a little while knows I've been having all kinds of computer troubles, lots of blue screens. Well, I pulled the tooth. I pulled the problematic drive. You know, I don't know if it actually has a problem or if it was seeded wrong, but I didn't feel like checking it, so I just pulled it, and my computer runs noticeably faster by pulling it. So I'm very interested to see what the problem was originally. So hopefully, knock on wood, fingers crossed, no more blue screens. Yes, it is an M.2 SSD. I had two of them in my computer, and this was given, so like even from early on, this has been giving a it's been failing state checks, like the BIOS checks. It's been failing them, and so it's been pretty odd. Actually, let me move this. Let's turn this up, this down. There we go. Yeah, it's been failing those state checks. So I'm pretty sure that was a problem. I kept getting blue screens that talked about a critical like drive system error. So I think we're good now. But what's up, Zamuro? How you doing today? So what I am going to do though is I'm going to try to stick this in my laptop. My laptop has a second M.2 slot, and see if it still gives me any errors or if I just seeded it in the desktop wrong. I don't really need any more space in this desktop for now. I keep all my stuff in like a I bought like I am using up a lot of space on my main C drive, but most of that is Call of Duty Warzone, to be 100% honest. And I have a couple other games that are on there that I should remove, but I have this lacy drive that's like 8 terabytes that I'm using now. So I'll just get a regular drive if I get it. Yes. Part 1, 2, and 3. Great question, Pug Dev. So they're probably still on here on Twitch, but if you do !YouTube, I did not, they're uploaded to YouTube. They are uploaded to YouTube. They are not, I honestly, I forgot that I uploaded them, but they're here. They're here. I just have to give them like their names. Like I have to like fill out the information for them so that I can, what's it called? Publish them. Like they're here though. I uploaded all the contained stuff, and part 1 and 2 is here. Part 3 is not up yet, but I'll get that up. But I need to turn these from drafts to publishing them, so it's coming. What's up, Cage Crown? Yo, hey, I mean, if you're playing some Warzone, shoot me a message. I've been really good about not playing, because you know, I'm trying to get my stuff together. I got 38 days now, but I'm gonna try to give myself I'm trying to give myself 2 days a week, but me and some friends play. So if anyone wants to send me your info, like I'd love to. I need some wins. I'm really good, but I need some wins for sure. I've only won like 2 games, but my stats are pretty good. Like, you know, I have substantially more kills than deaths. My KD ratio is greater than 1, you know, in both multiplayer and Warzone. But I might actually be able to play some. Can't play tonight, but I can play tomorrow night, and maybe Friday as well. I got a lot done this week, so we'll see. But tonight, as you can see, there's only 6 slides. I'll share this out. I actually was probably not going to share it, but my slides, these slides don't add that much to what we're going to be learning tonight. Terraform just does a great job of this part, at least, but we're going to be implementing stuff immediately, starting tonight. So let me share this. Let me add it to the thing as well, but I'll give you the link if you want to hop into the slides. But like I said, there's only 6 slides here, and I think 3 of them are title slides, so really only 3 slides, but the concepts tonight are very, very important. Yeah, they're super important. And so this is how it's going to be for the next 2 are just going to be, hey, we're going to run through these final concepts. So tonight is managing state locking, and backends. They all kind of go together, and so we're really just going to be focused on state tonight, and we can also take some time to go back and finish some of the things that we didn't finish last time in terms of state. And we can actually see those things as we start to dive into state, which would be pretty nice. And then what we can also do is let me see, let's look at something real quick. Zosam, appreciate the tier 1 sub. Good to have you. What's up? Good to see you. Really good to see you. Side note, also, I don't know how many people are super familiar with Twitch or not, but Dr. Disrespect is back, but not on Twitch. He's streaming on YouTube, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't really watch tons of game. I don't really watch a lot of game streaming, but I'll tell you what, he's given me 45,000 ideas. Like his stream is an entire production, and so I don't know, it's really, I'm a dreamer. Okay, I'm really a dreamer, and I would love to make this a production. Like, he's got some fun stuff on there that it would be cool to do, just for my own sake. It would be fun. Let's see. So day 4, so we're almost already through it. Day 4 is going to be the state stuff that I was talking about. Secrets management wasn't supposed to be today. Maybe we'll get into it. I might move that over. That was actually supposed to be on day 5 for a number of reasons, but we maybe we can do it today. We'll see what kind of time we have once we get into this, and we actually need to make some changes to what we did last time. And the next time will be built-in functions. Yeah, this is going to go, secrets management is going to go in day 5. Secrets, built-in functions, importing existing infrastructure, those 3 things, so that there are 3 things at least, because again, these concepts are really important, but they're not that difficult to implement or to really understand. But it's going to give us, all these things are going to give us time to really do some fun stuff on day 6, like really fun stuff on day 6. Cool. So let's get started. Let's run through these quick 6 slides, and then after we run through the slides, we'll simply hop back in, like I said, and make some of the changes to what we had on day 3 to get it into a little bit better, a cleaner of a place, and then we will hop in and we will implement the things that we learned tonight as well. So actually, let's give people 1 or 2 more minutes to kind of get on in. 7:10 is our usual time. My wife was kind enough to bring me in a milkshake, my favorite, from a place called Jupiter's around the corner. It's around the corner. It's called Jupiter's ice cream place. They serve an ice cream brand called Taharka, and it's really gone. But I'm gonna make sure that I get the last little bit. But this is Oreo coffee, or coffee Oreo. I don't know which one comes first, but it's pretty good. What's up, Zarif Ahmed? Welcome to the channel. What's up, Spencer? Welcome to the channel. Good to have you. Let me move this over. First off, actually, I need to show you guys one thing. I do really love Wallpaper Engine now a lot. I actually went exploring on Wallpaper Engine, but let's see, display capture. How do I change which display I'm capturing? Let's try this display. Did that change? That did not change. Hold on. I need to show you this somehow. My new background. It's not that one. It's got to be this one. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. I don't know if y'all know what that's from, but I'm a big meme fan. I'm a big meme, a big GIF fan, I wouldn't say I'm a viral video fan, but yeah, the casket guys, the funeral guys, it's really good. Like, I don't know who made this, but it's been making my day. It's been like, this is on my screen off to my right, so it's kind of just in my peripherals all day, and I usually have something full screened over there, and every time I minimize it, it makes my day. It really does. Like, it makes me happy every single time. All right, let me switch that back to my less distracting desktop, but cool. All right, day 4 of 6, we are almost through it. We're learning we've learned a lot of the core concepts of Terraform. Again, like I said, whether or not you can implement stuff with it is a different thing, but the core concepts of Terraform are pretty basic. You have HashiCorp configuration language that we're using to define the resources and things that we want with to be built with whatever using whatever provisioner we want to use. We're using the AWS, not provisioner. Why is my mind going blank? Hold on. It's just I just did a lightning talk, and that's, my mind is provider, and not provisioner. Whichever provider you want to use. and learning how to use it with that. But you're gonna look at the documentation, you're gonna figure out how to write the right configuration for whichever provider you're trying to use. But today's topics is Terraform backends, Terraform state management, and Terraform state locking. And like I said, these concepts are very important, and I really wanted to just focus on these things today. That's why we're not doing secrets management today, because I want to really want to focus on these things and kind of the understanding of these things. Not that they're super difficult, but keeping them isolated I think is going to be super helpful, and we're going to implement them. And it might take a little bit longer to implement state locking. I haven't done it in a while, but it'll be fine. Okay, this is a very simple concept, but backends, I found this GIF and I love it. But backends, this determines where and how state is loaded. So we talked about state a little bit. We talked about state being the current kind of configuration, the current existence, and the current what's the right word here? I always lose the right word, but the current, it's the current existence, I don't want to say state again, of the way the infrastructure currently lies. And Terraform needs this. It needs state to be able to properly make changes. So it needs to know how the infrastructure currently exists so that it can make the changes to get to how you've now defined it. So very important. But a backend determines where and how state is loaded. Okay, so where and how state is loaded. By default, the backend is configured to be local. So we saw that when we actually went to do our first apply, a hidden state file was created. What is it? I always forget the name of the file, but let's go back in and let's see what that actual name of that file is. Mastermind, Hoist, Hoist Terraform. Yeah, the terraform.tf state file is what gets created. And it's got some cool information in there. And if we look at it, it is simply some JSON data for how, again, how all of our stuff is set up. And this is what Terraform needs. And if it doesn't have this, if you go to try to deploy again, it'll basically start it all over and it will redeploy all of your stuff. So this state file is very important. State is very important. And again, by default, it's configured to be local. So it's on our local machine. By default, gets saved right to our desktop, gets saved right to our disk. And that's, that's where it is. But you don't have to do that. There are other options for Terraform backends. So Terraform backends, there are a number of options for this. There are a lot of options for backends. I think by default they tell you, or like their examples are with console, and console is a tool that they have. But there are many other backends to use. And so why would you even want to change your backend? Why would you want this to not be local? The reason why you may not want this to be local is generally you are not going to be working on a Terraform project by yourself, by your lonesome. It's not just going to be you making changes to the infrastructure and applying it. You're generally going to be working on a team, and they spell that out here. But if the state of the system is only set up on my computer, then no one else can really deploy properly. We're gonna step on each other's toes. We're gonna mess up things all the time, and so that doesn't really work out. So you need a kind of a common place for your state to be pulled from. And so you might say, oh, maybe we'll just throw state in GitHub. We have state in GitHub right now. It's not a good idea for a number of reasons, but the biggest of which is that, again, there's no real-time checking of the state file. If you have 4 people who are working on the same Terraform repository, creating different pieces of infrastructure and trying to deploy these things, if the state is in GitHub, then at each given time, someone only has whenever they last pulled, that's the last state that they have, and it can get super out of whack. It can mess up really badly. And so you want something that can be a little bit better. You want something that you can pull at real time, something that can be checked at real time. And Also, you kind of don't want it to be local on your computer. And again, working with a new backend allows us to do this. What's up, the She Boss? I'm telling you, you might be the most consistent person in the country right now. Thank you so much for the tier 1 gifted sub. Jitter Ted, gotta give a thank you. What's up, Viable Clan member? I really do appreciate it. How you doing today? So yeah, if you're working as a team, normally you're gonna be working as a team, so that's pretty important. Again, sensitive information off of disk. You kind of don't want to keep super sensitive information you know, on your computer. So it's kind of good if you push it somewhere else. And then remote operations, so you can also do some things where you can kind of push these changes and your computer not be the place that really runs and executes this thing to done. This really takes place, you have to worry about this more so when you are working in, you know, larger infrastructures, as they say here, which can take a very long time to complete. And so this allows you to do it remotely so that you don't have to worry about it on your computer. But if you don't configure anything, it is going to set up locally. But so backends are completely optional. Setting up a new one is completely optional, but it is something that you should do if you're, you know, not just working on something yourself. But again, I think it's a good idea, even if you are working on a project yourself, because what if you end up trying to pull your code from a different computer or something, and you try to deploy something and you don't have your state in a good place? It can be really sucky. So we set up these backends right in our Terraform code, so we can actually set up these blocks here. And so this is, again, just very similar to the HCL that you've seen. We're going to use this Terraform block here to set up a backend. And the backend they set up is console. And we'll look at a list of backends. We'll look at a list of optional backends that you can use. And then there will be some options for you to configure this backend. You do not have to configure all of the options in the backend. I think what that's called, like partial configuration or something. Yeah, it's right here. But yeah, there's some other things that go into partial configuration. But yeah, you can set up these backends using a block like this. Pretty simple to do. And so we're gonna set up that in a second. One of the most common ones people use is they use Amazon's S3. So we've done a little bit with S3 on here before, but it's a simple storage service. And we spun up a bucket actually using Terraform that would allow us to serve websites, but we can use it as a kind of a secure place to store our state, and a place where Terraform knows, you know, once we set up the backend properly, where it can go to check for how the state currently exists and make sure things are running well. After we configure the way we need it to be, right now our state is local, and it's just that state file. It's that tf state file that we just were looking at, this terraform.tf state, and that has the information that we need. Once we configure a backend, we have to initialize it. So when we do that Terraform init command, it goes through and it sets up backends. It sets up all the things that you need. So we'll have to write the code to the configuration to set up our backend. We'll have to initialize it so that Terraform kind of, you know, goes through and says, hey, looks like you know, you're using a new backend. Before it was local, you didn't have one configured, and it kind of takes you through the process of doing that. And we can actually move our state from local to that place. You can do it manually if you want, but you can also Terraform will do it for you if you need to do it. So that's nice. You can also get rid of it, so I'll show you that as well. Like if you ever, you know, are having problems or you don't want to use that remote backend anymore because you're in between options or something, you can revert back to local storage for that if you want. And so we'll see that today as well. Okay, we'll stop there for a second because state storage and state locking is a little bit different, but I'll show you the different backend options that we have. If you run it on a second PC, would it fire a duplicate? Would it fire up a duplicate for each server? Yes. If you were working off of one computer and you deployed something and you pushed the code and not the state file, and you know you didn't have a way to manage that state file, and you pull down the code and you try to redeploy on the second computer, it would recreate everything. It would duplicate all the things that already exist. It would try to, yeah, it would try to duplicate everything. So Let's look at the back. Actually, let's talk about all of it real quick. Let's do these. Let's run through these 6 slides real fast. So that's what the back end is. It's the thing that handles that state in the way that it's loaded, where and how it's loaded. State management and locking. This is, I kept this super light, but there's some ways we can see the state and to see what's going on with state that Terraform gives us. So we'll look at some of those things. You know, state it's not an incredibly tough thing to manage, but it's good to know how to get the information you need about the state. And also, we need to talk about state locking. This is very important. So what is state locking? State locking is making the state, so if you've ever done anything with databases or anything, it's when changes are being made to state. We basically don't want other people to be able to write to state if the state is volatile, or if we don't want it to move. There's a couple of different solutions for this, but let's say 6 of us are working on a project and we're all making changes and we're trying to deploy to the same environment. We're making our own little changes. If you know, if I push something, even if we are using the same backend, if I try to push something and maybe someone else tries to push something at the same time as me, and then 2 seconds later someone else tries to do it, the state can get, it can work in interesting ways, because things are still kind of getting written, and as things are getting created, then the state gets written to. And so because these processes aren't all instant and state doesn't get written instantly, you can get into some super odd states. And so locking actually happens by default if your backend allows for it, but what it does is it says, hey, there is basically we're running a Terraform apply. We are going to make sure that this file, this state file, is now locked. It cannot be written to. No actions that allow it to be written to can be performed right now, because either things are happening, or you can actually set it to be locked if you like to set it to be locked. But this ensures, again, that nobody is able to you know, get the state file into a super weird state because they were doing the things at the same time that you were doing them. One person can kind of be updating that thing at a time, and so it's really cool. Again, just kind of like how database tables work, just to make sure that, you know, there aren't any weird overwrites of the data. You can force unlock. You can force unlock the table. I mean, you can force unlock it if you want, the state if you want. Super bad idea, unless you know exactly what you're doing. But you do have that option as well. Let's say, you know, you really, I don't know why you would. I've never needed to force unlock so far yet. I'm sure there are situations where you do need to, but you don't. But that's the concepts for the night. Very, you know, pretty simple concepts for the night. You know, we already talked about state a little bit. We'll talk about some of the commands that help us manage Terraform state, which is Terraform state commands. And so we have a couple options here. So let's dive straight into it real quick. You know, we have Terraform state commands that allow us to see different things. So if we do Terraform state list, we can kind of see what we have, the resources that we currently have spun up or not spun up. So if I were to destroy this, which I'm about to do in a second, actually, you can kind of see what's happening here. You can move an item in the state. You can actually do manual pulls and pushes of states. Now, you don't necessarily, this is not something that you should have to do often, but it is something that you can do. You can manually pull and push states. Be careful with the pushing of states as well. So just kind of like whatever is configured for your backend, you can pull from that location, and you can push to that location as well from a local file. So good options. Usually this is done if you need to repair a state file for some reason. Other than that, I haven't needed to do it, but it's good for that, and you do have that ability. You can remove instances from the state, and you can show a resource in the state if you'd like, and we'll see some of those in a second. What happens if you delete your TF state file? Do you delete everything by scratch? So if you delete the state file, it does not delete the associated resources. You kind of orphan them. Yeah, you kind of orphan them. There's a way to get them back into Terraform, which we're going to learn next time, I believe. But yeah, you kind of orphan them, so you need to be very careful with that. But yeah, you would have to delete everything and start all over, or figure out a way to rebuild that state file. I see people do some pretty interesting recoveries, but yes, you would have to delete the stuff that you have. That state files is pretty important. All right, so the Terraform state command gives you the option to see some of those things. We do have one thing deployed, and I can't remember where we were. Let me make sure we just have all the latest stuff, even though we should, because it's a directory that we were in. But last time we were setting up a couple things. We ran out of time a little bit, but we were setting up these, we set up some modules last time, and that's what dev instances and blog is. So blog was a S3 module basically that allowed us to spin up an S3 bucket that has static web hosting. Dev instances was our developer EC2 instances that we were creating. There are dev machines, so we created a module for those. An infrastructure TF file is our main file, and so I'm actually going to rename that today. And the reason I'm going to rename that today is because this is commonly the structure. You can name it whatever you want, but main helps you know where the file that these things are reading. So we're going to move infrastructure.tf to main.tf. Okay, and so main TF, that's just going to be where you set up the main things that you're going to be doing. And I'm actually going to tear everything down real quick. I don't even know what's out. I guess it's just a dev instance, just so I know exactly what we have deployed, even though, you know, I could run, you know, and I could run an apply and see what changes are going to be made, and then look back at this to realize what happened. But we're gonna do this real quick because we're actually gonna make some changes real quick that we didn't do. So we turned these things into modules last time. We wanted to use variables a little bit, so let's set that up first, and then we'll move on to all the state stuff. So right now, this main.tf, we're already using modules, and we actually remove the blog one. Let's add this one back in. Let's actually add in the blog module back. So we're gonna get that S3 bucket in place today, as well as some dev instances. And we also have some output here that we worked on getting some output variables last time. So cool. We do have access to those things. Great. But what we want is, I want to, we didn't set up any variables for this. For these modules last time, and I think we should do that. I think we should, you know, make some variables for this so that we can kind of, you know, have our repo reflect kind of how the way that you kind of want to do things. And so we need to let's do a couple things here. Let's open up a new thing here. Add a child node. Variables.tf. Remember, variables.tf is the file that you can use to create variables here, to declare variables and assign them values if you want. And let's just for the sake, we could do this in the variables.tf file, but let's also make a what is it, Terraform.tf vars. And remember the difference between the variables.tf and I think it's Terraform.tf vars. I never remember what it can be called, but I know it's TF vars. Is that in the variables.tf file, or in your main root module, or in any of the module TF files, you can declare variables, but you can declare variables, but you cannot in the TF vars file. You could only assign values to variables in the TF vars file. And so let's set up some things. So we want to set up one for, let's close this over here. Let's set up one for all of these things. So let's set up one for the count variable. Let's call this count, server count. And let's set that equal to value equals, that needs to be a number. Remember, you have to give it the type. These are strongly typed things. And what's the default? equals 1, and we'll close that up. All right, and so after we change each one, we'll go ahead and make the appropriate changes over here on the right. So we want to basically take the configuration options that are over here on the right, and we want to use variables instead of hard coding those values. And so we'll undo. Let's save that. Let's get on over here. So instead of count equals 1, remember, how do we grab a variable value? With the var keyword, dot, and then the name of the variable. So var dot server count is how we can go ahead and do that. All right, and just, you know, while we're running through this, just in your head, try to remember the different ways that you can make variables. What is, I'm gonna ask for the answer a little bit later, but what is another way that we can configure variables? So we can do them in the variables.tf file. We can do them, we can assign them values in the tf vars file, but there's one more way we can do that. So think about that. If you don't remember, see if you can try to remember what we can do with that. And so let's set up our next variable that we need. And our next variable is going to be server image. And these are terrible names. They don't need to be this. I'm just doing stuff. Server image, and this is going to be for our AMI, because our AMI might change. Oh yes, you can pass them through the CLI. That wasn't what I was talking about, but you can pass them through the CLI, but that really does set them in the same way that this other thing does. But yes, you can pass them in the CLI. That's true. 100% true. And the value for server image, the type for this is going to be a string. What happened? Something happened? Oh no. Hold on. No, hold on. Let me see. Let me see what I can do. No. Nope. Hold on. Okay, I think we're back. Are we back? Let me know when we're back. Let me know. It's storm. I think it's the storm. The storm got us. The storm, it got us. Okay, I'll keep an eye on it. You know, I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna pull it up so that Stone Cold Stream Austin is watching, and then I can monitor it as if I'm Stone Cold Stream Austin. All right, so now I should be able to see it. I'll let people get refreshed. Cool. I'll let people get refreshed here. All right. I'm telling you, these dancing coffin people off to my right is killing me. I gotta cover it up real quick. For now, it's distracting me for sure. Okay. So, server image. So we're pulling the AMI over. It needs to be a string, strongly typed. We'll give it a default value. We don't have to give it a default value, but we will give it a default value because it's good. You know, it's good to do. You know, if defaults make sense. Defaults don't always make sense, but today they do. I think my terminal settings might be out of date, because I think my terminal settings are for hyper. If you do not terminal, terminal settings, you can grab my vimrc. No, it's not terminal set. You just did terminal settings. That was dumb. There's a command that'll give you my dot files, but it's in that same directory. It's in that config files directory on GitHub, and so you can kind of set it up like this. I think it's up to date. I'm pretty sure it's pretty up to date. All right, so I'm gonna take, what am I doing? Okay, I'll take this. Someone let me know if well, let's find out. If I delete inside, does that copy the buffer? And let's find out if I delete inside, it does copy the buffer. Nice. I need to figure out how to wrap as well. How to wrap in quotes. I gotta figure that out. Just wanted to see the terminal on SHVim. Oh, yep. Yeah, I'm not using Hyper anymore. The terminal itself is Windows terminal, so I do have a Windows terminal setting in there as well. But yeah. So we'll set the default there, and if we set that up, then over here we'll have to. This is not gonna work. Well, it'll work, but dot. Let me see. Do I have to save first? Oh yeah, well, it does work. Okay, I was wondering if sometimes you have to save the file. I didn't save this file over here on the left before that. Before Vim will tab complete for me, but that did work out well for me just now. All right, so server image, and we'll save that, and we'll head back over here. We'll save it, and let's make it easy on ourselves, and let's just copy this. Let's yank it, and let's paste this. And what do we want to call the next thing? Instance type. So we're just slowly getting in some practice. No need to move too fast through it. Instance type. This also needs to be a string, and we will set up a default value, which is t3.micro, and we'll override some of this stuff, but we'll just set up some of these defaults here, and we can undo. Interesting. How did that override my what was in my buffer already? So paste. Let's paste to just a few more. So instance type. Oh no. And we want, do we need key name? Yeah, we need key name. And I don't want to make it that. I want to make it SSH key. And that's going to be hoist for the SSH key. And what else do we have? Tags. We probably should make the tag name a little more dynamic, but for now, that's not a problem. And we can say, we can call it server name, because that's what it'll end up being. And we'll call it hoist internal development. And we'll mess around with all this so we can just see how these changes take effect and what they do. We'll save there, go over here, save here. Sorry, I thought I couldn't tell if it was thunder, but I think my wife is we have a very loud, so we have a downstairs on the TV, we have a Vizio soundbar that we got years ago. Something happened and the subwoofer is like wildly overpowered, and like it's way louder than anything else. It's like really annoying. It's a really nice soundbar, and I don't want to spend any money on a new one. But yeah, so we got to change the things over here, and so this needs to be var dot instance type. All right, and then we need to do over here. Everyone, I really like that capital C is life changing for me. And we're gonna do var dot SSH key. Noise. I think the values should be, oh yeah. Sorry, I think I was thinking of the output. You are correct. All right, so now we're gonna learn a little bit more of some more what's it called? We're gonna learn a little bit more Vim stuff. I never remember how to do this exactly. I think find and replace for this is like value slash type slash G. No. Okay, so it's not. It's colon percent S slash value slash type slash G. Oh, Whoa, get at me, dog. Getting there, definitely getting there. Whoa, first off, I've never, is this replying to commands thing new? Or replying to chat messages new? That's pretty dope, and I love it. I love it. Wait, is that not what I think that's what I did. I think that's what I did. But yes, it is reply was added like 2 days ago. That's nice. I like that, Twitch. I like that a lot. Okay. So let's see here. So type instead of value for all those things. Boom, boom, boom. Noise, noise, noise. And we have one more change to make over here, and that is with this one. And we need to move over and see that and var it up. Var dot server name. Ooh, it's gonna bother me. Okay, never mind. Oh, all good. All good, not a problem. Thanks for the help. I do like I mean, it makes sense. It's kind of, it's very similar to like a like a set find and replace, but let's see here. All right, so I think that's everything that we needed to do, and I think we now have that file. We could set up the TF vars. We don't really need to because we set up all the defaults that we wanted to, but the TF vars file is there, and maybe we will set it, maybe we'll override some stuff in a little bit. And let's just see, let's do a Terraform validate. Let's make sure for now that we have all valid configs, and nice, it says, hey, you know, our configuration is valid. Phenomenal. But also if we do a Terraform format, let's see everything that gets updated. Nothing. So our formatting is phenomenal because we're the greatest formatters in the world. Upon first go, what about blog? Does blog need to also it does also need variables? So let's touch a variables.tf here as well, and let's go ahead and edit this. Blog.tf, variables.tf, close this out. All right, variable, what do we want here? Ooh, there's a lot of stuff here. I don't want to do all of it. Let's just do a few, just so we're, again, just getting some practice, and all we're doing is getting some practice in. Practice does not hurt. The type here is going to be a string, and maybe over here we won't do any defaults. How about that? Maybe we won't do any defaults here. We'll use TF vars for everything here, just for practice. Variable bucket. So we're gonna do something with this bucket. I'm not gonna set up the ACL as one. Let's set up the tag name and environment, and that's it. Variable tag name and type equals string. No default. And so if you do not define a default value, you must I believe you must define a value, if it needs it. You must define a value, either, I think it'll either ask you, or you must define a value in the TF vars, or by a environment variable if you want, or from the command line as someone stated before. So that would work as well. And let's just do one for environment. I don't know if environment is that might be a reserved word, but we'll find out real quick. What's up, Deocoder? Oh, thank you so much for the follow, Deocoder. All right, so we'll set these things up really quick, and now let's just save that and hop on over here and make sure we make the appropriate changes. So we've done this lots of times now, so we know we type in var and tag name for one, and here we want just var dot environment. All right, for that, and up here for the bucket name, we simply want Whoa. Var dot bucket. All right, so we got these things set up. So we know how to use variables now. We know how to set them up. We know how to use them. Let's go ahead and set up a TF-vars file so that we can declare them as well. What's up, G Fixler? Good to have you on the channel. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And let's go ahead and let's add a new file. And what are we gonna call this? Terraform.tf-vars. And so TF-vars again works a little bit different. And that's what we wanted. Open that up, close this. We can also close this for now. We just need this. Okay, so now we're declared over here on the right, but we can also assign over here on the left. So we'll give bucket, I forgot the name, but it doesn't really matter because we tore everything down. So we can give bucket anything that we want. And let's call this, no, this does matter though. This matters for our policy JSON. This matters a lot actually, because I didn't make this dynamic. So, whoops. So let's see that real quick. Policy JSON, this must be the bucket for now. Just for the sake of my own laziness is what it must be. So V, Hoist Media blog site. Yank. And other, what's happening here? P, there we go. D, and that looks better. Okay, so let's open back up our variables.tf just so we know what we're doing. All right, so one for that. We need one for tag name equals tag name. We'll call it whatever we want. This is going to be the actual server name, or the bucket name, bucket tag. And I think we just called it something like our blog bucket, but we can call it whatever we want. Blog bucket. And the last thing here is going to be our environment. And we're gonna call this, instead of dev, we're now gonna call this production. Just be, you know, why not? I don't know. It doesn't really matter for us right now. What's up, Nateri Verney? Hello, Vernal. You look like an eye to me. Welcome. I love the Pepe memes. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for the follow. Good to have you. And dropping in, you know, with the dope emojis. All right, so this is what they look like in the TF-vars. You can define them over here pretty simply, as long as they're already declared. If I try to add one here that's not declared, we will in fact run into an error. So let's save these. And now we've set up, you know, a bunch of stuff. We set up all of our variables in each individual module. Remember, those are modules. And our main.tf, even though it's going to deploy those things, our main.tf is pretty simple. And it's just calling those modules, and that's it. So let's go ahead now and let's do our validate again, just to make sure we're good. And look at that, we got some problems. We got ourselves some problems. Missing required argument on line 7. On line 7 in module blog, the argument bucket is required, but no definition was found. So we do in fact have an error here, okay? And let's go ahead and check that out. So in blog, blog.tf line 7 says, oh, that must have been for the main.tf, not for this. But var.bucket, let's see. Variables.tf, string bucket, variable bucket. Okay, but in our TF-vars, do we have anything? What's up, Jerome Devs? Yep, we're always, you know, we got a Terraform out here. Bucket. So, a couple of, oh wait, actually, this is not what we wanted to look at. We wanted to look at, where is our, oh, Orm blog, Vim blog, No, not Terraform. Yeah, TFVars. There's a bucket one there. We may not be able to use bucket, or it may be a it also may be a scoping problem as well. I can never remember. Our vars might have to exist. I'm gonna have to move those up, I think. Let me see really quick. What happens if I copy? I can never remember how these work. Copy blog, variables.tf here. And let's see if we do another validate, if it gives us a different set of options. No, it still gives us this. Argument bucket has no required. It might be the name. Tag name is required. Environment is required. Let me see if I also get the same errors for the other one. For if I comment out. Let me try this real quick. Let me comment out the blog module. Hold on. All right, there we go. And I'm surprised it didn't give us, it's interesting that it didn't give us anything for our dev instances. So let's check out to see what we have wrong there. So let's just do a quick tree. And so in a tree in blogs, we have a variables.tf here, and we have a terraform.tf vars here, and we also have a terraform.tf vars here, and a variables.tf, and it doesn't complain at all for dev instances. It's not complaining at all for dev instances, but it is in fact complaining for blogs. So let's check that out. I'm learning Terraform though, because I'm switching careers from front end to SRE. That's dope. I'm a DevOps person. Definitely know the most about SRE type things. So my stack will be Terraform, Ansible, Kubernetes, Docker, and NetData. I don't know what NetData is, but Docker is my jam. Kubernetes is cool. Ansible is pretty dope. Terraform's phenomenal. That sounds like a fun stack, but all tools that are not super easy to learn. No, Terraform itself is not difficult to start, and this is always the frustration. Terraform itself is actually pretty simple, but again, you're using Terraform to manage some type of service, some type of platform as a service, some type of platform. So if you don't know that platform well, Terraform is hard to start. It can be super intimidating, but itself, like, Terraform is actually quite simple on its own, to be 100% honest. It's learning how to use it to manage whatever service or tool you're trying to manage. It's a monitoring tool. Dope. Okay, so what is wrong? Why does dev instances fine, but blogs not fine? And if we do a Terraform plan really quick, let's just make sure that our dev instances stuff is getting pulled in. So it's asking me for bucket. Oh, that's because I didn't remove it from here. Let me rm-rf variables.tf, plan it again, and let's see if it picks up the stuff that we put in the other one. Okay, so it is picking up the stuff that's in the dev instances section. It's picking those up. Now, we put defaults there. We did put defaults there, but I wonder if it's the TF state, not the TF state, the TF vars. That's interesting. That might have to be here. So let's copy blog. Let's copy that here, and let's add this back into main. Oh, undo. And let's see if we plan here. It's not. So it's not the module blog tag name is required, but no definition is found. It's not reading our TF vars properly. We don't have TF vars in the other one. Let me see. You know what? I think back here though, I think we did something different on day 3. Does it look any different? Nope, doesn't look any different. Wanted to make sure that was fine. I don't think I need to do an init or anything. Really odd. Not a big deal. I'll take a look at it one more time. Make sure I'm not doing something wrong. Blog.tf is taking in var.bucket, var.tagname, var.environment, vim terraform.tf vars, bucket tag name. But I was pretty sure I can give them default values, but I really thought they didn't need default values. I'm pretty sure default value is optional in Terraform. I'm pretty sure of that, but I will. Let's see if it takes. Let's see if it takes with that, and let's see if it overrides or not. I know to override them, but I didn't think. I just thought if you didn't provide a default value, it would either ask you for the thing, or TFVars would override them. Yeah, as I was saying, I think defaults are optional, but it's not picking up. It's not picking up my TFVars for some reason. They're defined. We literally did this the other day. Why? I wonder if what happens if I let me just try something real quick. I have a, it would be odd that this would be the case, but let me see something real quick. Spellings match is probably a spellings thing, but the words are simple. And so if this works, it probably means that they are all did it pick up on a argument bucket, but I changed it from bucket though. Oh no, I didn't change it in the variable. Hold on one second. Blog variable. Yeah, I can definitely re-in it, but that also seems, I don't think I've ever had to re-in it for variables. Maybe I have. I just want to see, it's real quick. I got to check on this before I do anything else. Okay, it's not. We'll try. Let's. Yeah, it's weird. Okay, I will make them default values for now, and then we'll figure out the TFVar stuff, because I more so care about state tonight. So I'll just make them default values. Blog variables.tf. So let's just do this, and what do I need? Blog TFVars, and over here I can't spell. A default equals for bucket and not iBucket, which I'll change, is Hoist Media blog site. All right, we'll do a default for this, which is, oh, that needs to be a no, oh, those are all. Does anyone know an easy way to surround? Do I need a plugin for that for Vim? I know defaults aren't required when declaring modules. Maybe they are for this. Yeah, maybe we'll definitely figure it out. Let's get the other stuff done first, and then we'll definitely figure it out, because it's gonna bother me if I don't figure it out. What's up, Noor? How you doing tonight? Okay. Default for tag name is going to be blog bucket, and the default for environment is going to be production. For surrounding, you need four. Okay, elephant pandas. No, you don't actually need 4 speakers in each corner of the room. There's actually fancy technology now where you can take a sound bar, and the sound bar has speakers that are, you know, optimized to point in different directions and bounce off the walls after you measure the room. So boom, boom. But you are generally correct. You need really 5 speakers. I feel like you need 5. You need the direct head-on speaker, 4 in the corners, and you need a subwoofer. So really 6, but that is correct. That's how you get surround. All right. Forget that TFVars file. And let's plan this out. Var iBucket makes sense because I changed it when I shouldn't have changed it. And blog.tf, but I wanted to test something out. I wanted to see if bucket was a reserved word. Grep -r iBucket. Make sure it's not anywhere else. It is blog terraform.tf vars, even though it's fine if it's here. All right, now if we plan it out. Okay, so the plan now works. It's going to make two resources, two of our modules. It's going to make an S3 bucket that has static hosting. And it's also going to make an instance. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to deploy this so that our state gets updated properly with what we want to do. And I'll let it go and I'll let it do its thing. Now, while it's doing its thing, let's look on how you set up some backends. And I'm just going to tell you, well, let's see. Terraform, backend list. Supported backend types. There we go. Backend types. So these are there are a couple. They're standard and enhanced. Don't worry about that right now. I don't think that's super important for right now. But the standard backends that you can choose from, Artifactory. I've only ever used Console. I use etcd for like a project, like a walkthrough project. That they were using etcd for this. But S3 is kind of the it's got to be one of the most common ones that is out there. But you do have to check here to see if your backend allows for state locking. Every backend does not allow for state locking, and so for this you have to use DynamoDB for state locking. For those of you who don't know what DynamoDB is, DynamoDB is a scalable NoSQL database as a service that Amazon provides. Super fast. You don't really have to worry about the size of it. It'll kind of scale up to meet your demands. But yeah, it's NoSQL, so not only SQL. No, you just basically get a table and you can push data into it really easily. It's really nice. And so you can set up a DynamoDB table to manage state. So the state file sits in S3, but the locking of that file is basically done with Dynamo, and basically a record will get pushed into there to determine. And like before it does anything, it does any writes to that state file, it'll check in with Dynamo to make sure that it can. So it's pretty interesting. So we can set that up tonight as well. Should be a pretty quick thing. But an example S3 configuration for switching our backend to S3 looks like this. And so let's take a look at it and see what it's kind of setting up here. So it's setting up a bucket with a bucket name. So you got to tell it what bucket you want to put your stuff into. Then you want to give it the key. So the key is actually basically the path to whatever file it is you're going to be saving. So you got to tell it where in the bucket that you want to save your state file to, and what key you want to create for that state file. And then you can give it a region as well. So let's go ahead and let's add this. So you add this to your to one of your TF files. And so let's make this a little smaller. Let's move this over, make this a little smaller. Wow, I don't know what happened. It went forward a bunch. But yeah, let's just type in this and let's see this work. And so this is kind of why people have this main.tf file, and this is where I would put it. This is how kind of I would set things up, is all my modules below, but like in my main TF file, I want to keep it as kind of isolated as possible. So just the essentials, my provider, the modules that I need, and maybe an output values I want. But we can go ahead and put that section right up here. So we can type in Terraform and open that up. And what was the first thing? The Terraform, we had backend type, which is gonna be S3. And let's see, bucket. What bucket are we gonna use? I'm gonna see if I have a bucket that's already available. I know I have a bucket that's already available. So let's just see what buckets I have, and we'll just pick one to use it. Export AWS profile equals mastermind sounds right, feels right. AWS S3 LS, I know it's small. All right, mastermind backup. Let's go ahead and let's use this DevOps will do it live bucket. I haven't used that for anything. This was for a talk that I did. The talk failed, actually. We tried to do something live real fast. We tried to do a whole pipeline. Didn't work because I only had 30 minutes, but it was a fun try. But let's take that bucket. So DevOps will do it live. We'll use that bucket that I have, and we'll copy that, and we'll make sure that happens. No Good Nick, welcome to the channel. Good to have you. You're probably up to no good, but you know, we're still happy to have you here. So we have our bucket here, and we also have our key. So we're gonna give it a key. The key is going to be the path to where we want it to go. Let's just give it something like Terraform slash state dot what is the extension for a state file? Is a TF state? Hold on. It is, yeah, TF state. I never remember. It doesn't need to be that. We can call it whatever we want, really. What were we editing? I forgot we were editing already. Oh yeah, dots. TF state. You can call it whatever you want. That's what we're gonna call this. And then we are going to add in the region, which the region shouldn't, I don't think it's required, but we can check below if it's required, because I have it set up already above, up here. US East add 1, and let's go ahead and close all of this. And this sets up a brand new backend for us. Very basic, but there are a bunch of other options that you have for your backend that you can select. It's going to tell you to set up S3 permissions, because S3, you know, you need to for things in Amazon, you need to be explicit about permissions. But I am using my you know, my God mode user, my my admin user, basically, so I should be fine to do that. But yeah, you have a bunch of things that you can do in here, and it will give you more information below about some of the things that you can add to configure this more properly if you need to configure it any further. It'll also tell you again what's required. You know, a key is required, a bucket is required. We have both of those things. All of these things are optional. We can check if the region is required, which I don't think it is. I don't even see it on here. Yeah, I don't even see it here. I could look for it if I wanted to, but I don't think region is required, but we'll leave it there. Not a big deal. So let's look at it in its entirety. And I think we're missing something. What are we missing? We are missing open, close. Oh, we're missing. We didn't close this. And this is why I always say that colors are important in text editors. Again, it's a tool. It is a tool. I've heard some people I know don't like colors in text editors or say it's not that important. I knew that there was an issue because look how the colors, like I know what it's supposed to look like. Your brain gets accustomed to what it's supposed to look like. I can see that this is not looking the way that it's supposed to look. It doesn't look like this up here. I can see that they're different, and your brain, you know, is able to find that you're running into an error before you actually try to go do something. So I find that to be really nice. And so we'll clear that out. All right, and we'll do a Terraform plan. Oh yeah, so we changed our backend. And so actually, did our stuff get spun up? And we can see if it's spun up by what's here. Hoist bucket test. Hoist media blog site. Yes, this was created today. So this did actually work. Nice, the original Terraform run. So we try to do another Terraform plan. It says, hey, you've made some modifications to your Terraform files and you are no longer using the local backend. You did not have a backend configured previously, but now you do have a backend configured. So I need you to reinitialize for me. And so we're gonna do a Terraform init. And it's initializing modules first, then it initializes the back end. So it's doing that for us. And okay, so it says no valid credentials sources found for AWS provider. This is great. The reason why this is great is because we're trying to use the AWS S3, which is an AWS service as a backend, and basically just saying, hey, I can't talk to this thing. I'm not able to speak properly to what we need to speak to. I actually think that's a little bit weird. I know why it's happening, and this must be because Terraform init is not utilizing the Terraform stuff. And I think if I simply just export, I exported my username in a different session, and so I think if I export this again here, I think it'll work. And we're doing init. It should be able to utilize my credentials, and it does. So it says, hey, we're initializing this backend. Would you like to copy the current state? You already have some stuff deployed. State already exists locally. Do you want to move it to the new backend? And so I can type in yes or no. I can do it myself if I want to, but I simply type in yes, and it puts it up into, it puts it online. I mean, it puts it up into the S3 bucket. So we can kind of see that. So I have right here, I have my TF state file. So actually, it's also worth noting, one very important thing is that the state files, if you're using a backend, it will not save it locally. So it is not saved locally anymore. It actually empties out this TF state file. I can remove it right now if I'd like. Yeah, it gets rid of that, as well as this backup thing. I created this backup, I think, or maybe it did it, I don't know. But there is a backup file there for it as well. But it looks smaller than it should be. So I wonder what's, is it the full state file? Okay, it is. But now if we do an AWS S3 LS, what was the bucket? We did DevOps. We'll do it live. We did that bucket and we put it in the Terraform prefix. And inside of there, look at that. There is in fact a state.tf state file, and we would be able to download that if we'd like. We could pull it down and check it out and take a look at it. But it is up in S3 now, so state is now being managed there, and again, not being managed locally. So if we were to make a change, so if we were to do something like, hey, dev instances, let's add an additional dev instance by changing a number and the TF vars, and this is actually a good test. Let's see if this works. We need to change server count. Let's change server count. Let's actually change it in TF vars instead. Server count equals 2. So it's a number instead. So let's actually add a second server and let's see if this works. So now if we do a Terraform plan, let's actually do a Terraform, what's the thing called again? I always forget. Validate. Let's do, so it's valid. Let's do a Terraform plan. I wouldn't need to do a plan. Let's do a format. Let's also do an apply. Okay, so that this TFR is we just did this. I wonder what's weird about this on why it's not overriding. It's got to be, it has to be a modules thing in the way that I'm doing it in modules, but that's fine. We will set the, does the TF vars have to overwrite in the root? I don't know, not a big deal. Let's just change it here. Let me make sure, hold on, let me make sure I'm setting up my TF vars properly. Variable image ID. Yeah, which is all I have to do. One day we'll try to do some JSON stuff as well with it. Not a big deal. Terraform.tfrs. It should overtake this. All good. Actually, let me read that again. Top level of this. Terraform uses last value fonts override, not the Terraform loads in the following order. Environment variables first, then TFRs, JSON, then any of the autos. Okay. Well, we will find out what's going wrong later. We'll just simply change this to A2 for now. All right, and if we were to do an apply, but I thought, really, I think well, let's check. Let's check. This seems weird because in that case you would never be able to see what you have. Oh, did I run up? Okay, maybe that's the problem. Let's try that real quick. Let's try it. What's happening? Yeah, I know. I definitely know I can set it up via a file, the same way that I know I can set it up via an environment variable. But like, I'm trying to see. Nah, it's not picking it up. Hold on. Terraform, not module, not reading TF vars. Let's see. What's up, Danny Crane? Welcome to the channel. Steven Glansberg, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub as well. Thank you so much. TF vars not being read. Variable in a nested TF file. Unknown variable referenced. Major regression from previous versions. Let's see. Correction and bug. Variable block somewhere in your config. Variables need to declare. Yeah. File will still be read if value declare must appear in the config. Oh, do we need to put the and not a variables file and put it in the main TF? I wonder if that's the problem. These are old though. Okay, this person has exactly what we set up basically. Yeah, it's definitely old, but I'm just seeing here if anyone says anything helpful. $. Maybe that's it, but it shouldn't be it. But let's see. Misleading TF vars error. Variables not allowed. Equals var. Variables. This is not the same thing that we're having. All right. I really. I'm confident it should work, but it's not working. I'm sure it's a cool little issue. But we are now using S3 to manage our state. State is no longer managed locally, but I did want to make that change. I wanted to make a change to this so that our state is changed and that we can confirm the state is changed. Let me show you. The way that we can confirm this is let's log into AWS really quick. Let's get logged in. Let's all right. Let's Authy it up. Which is the superior auth management tool. And 42395. We're all in, and if we check out S3 and we look at DevOps will do it live, and we look in why is there so much stuff in here? Terraform, TF state, it was set up at 8:15. It is now 8:20. 8:15 there, it's got the state, and everything is good to go. But if we were to do this, Nope. If we were to do dev instance, variables.tf, and change that number from 1 to 2, our state must change. But let's go ahead and apply that. And it's gonna go ahead and add another server for us. So go ahead and add that server. First one was instance 0 in that array. Now this is instance numero uno. And we'll let that apply. Still creating. And it goes ahead and it gets created. And now we get outputs. We get another IP address added. This is the private IP address, which is useless to us because we have not exposed that, we have not attached that public IP address. But if we now refresh this file, it now is set to 821. So the state.tf does in fact get updated to 821. Looks real good. And again, it makes it so that we can easily have a place that's external for this updating. Really nice. So now one of the things that we can do is we can set up a .getIgnore. And I never remember how to, if you can just specify the actual thing. And I think you can do like star.tf state, something like that. I never remember if you have to put, is anything else in getIgnore is required? It's always interesting when you do something like getIgnore. I deal with getIgnore so infrequently that like every single time you do it, it's like twice a year for me. And then I gotta go look and see if I need anything special in my getIgnore, but I don't think so. How did you get them to read the tf-vars file? So it reads the tf-vars file by default. If you variable like these, so dot, it reads the, sorry, no, it does not read the tf-vars. It did not read the tf-vars file. I changed the variables.tf file. So in there I have variables.tf and I set defaults. It did not read, it has not read the tf-vars file yet, which is really weird because over here, when we were doing an example yesterday, over here in this day 3 thing, where we set up variables.tf over here, but we set up some stuff. Take a look at this and take a look at what we put in the tf-vars. Let me open it up side by side. I think I broke it. Something happened. Yep, I broke it. I don't know how, but it's broken. I froze it. Let's get back over there. They don't want me to know what I did. Mastermind Hoist. Day 3. S. So this is the one that we were working in to kind of display what this was. And look over here. I overrode T3 micro with T3 small over here. I overrode the number of instances with 5 instead of 1, and the region, same thing. And if I do a plan over here, it's gonna read that, or at least it did. Look at this, it's giving me 5 outputted servers. It's giving us 5 of them. And it's also giving us, but also this is not a module. So maybe that's my problem. Maybe this has to do with modules, but it is in fact reading CT3 small instead of micro. So it is reading this. So tf-vars should override, but maybe, do I have to override it here? So Mr. Moonslam, you know, I also agree with you. So I'm not gonna boo Terps. You know, I'm not gonna boo the Terps, but I am a bigger fan of the Retrievers. Go Dogs, you know, I'm with it. True Grit, all that stuff. I agree with you, you know, UMBC for life with a Y, not with an I. But, you know, I got to rep Maryland as well, because my brother coaches there. So, you know, we just, you know, we can be a fan of all the Maryland schools, but I will have to start, you know, showing people that I'm a Retriever believer, okay? For anyone who doesn't know, UMBC, the greatest, obviously the best basketball school in the country, you know, set history by, you know, beating the #1 team, you know, Virginia. So, you know, if you look out for us, we're an amazing school. If you want to be really smart and you want to be really cool, you should go there. It is a bit boring. It is over a 50% commuter school, so it can get boring because half of the school leaves every weekend and every day, really. But really cool place. It's a cool place. All right. So yeah, it must be a modules thing. We'll figure that out. We will learn. Let's set up some state locking if we can. It's gonna be hard to show you state locking, but I think it'll be fun to just go through the process of setting it up. Because again, I think it is something that is important in that you will likely, if you're gonna have to implement Terraform somewhere where you go, state locking is gonna be probably pretty important, or you're gonna have to manage your workflow around not having that state locking, and it can be pretty annoying doing that. But yeah, what's up, Equivalent Z, Jerome Devs? Yeah, well, welcome everybody. Good to have you. Well, let's go back. And let's go back into Hoist Terraform. Pray your company just uses Terraform Enterprise. That's, hey, you know what? I mean, that's true. That is so that is DO Coder. That is absolutely a valid solution. If your company has the money, say, hey, I highly recommend that we use Terraform Enterprise for this exact reason. 100%. These platforms and softwares as a services, they're good. They're good, if you want to use them. They're really good. Thank you so much, Mr. Moonslam. The Retrievers looking out for each other. Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub, or the Prime Gaming sub now. Even though we're not doing any gaming right now, we'll do some. We'll definitely do some. Appreciate the sub. All right, let's go ahead and let's look through how you would set up some state locking with S3. Remember, we got to use DynamoDB for this. This is just going to be for fun a little bit, and maybe we can kind of show how this is when maybe we can kind of identify this, or like show real time how this works on the last day when we're working on that project. Maybe I can find I can give a couple of you access so we can try to see how that works. And yes, Terraform Enterprise is insanely expensive. Again, like I said, if your company has the money, I say go for it. Usually those things are very helpful for the engineers who are going to be managing them. They do provide a number of great features, but your boy doesn't have the money to be doing Terraform Enterprise. How much? And you always know. Let's check pricing. You always know if it's going to be crazy expensive when I hate when the contact sales, when it says, if there are no options where it gives you a real dollar amount and it just says contact sales, it's not the tool for you. It's just not the tool for you. But yeah, per user, interesting. Structure as code, team management and governance. You don't even get that with they have a free tier. Maybe we'll use this, but do we get any state management with these things? Probably not. Collaborative infrastructure as code. Maybe you do. What's the advantage of Enterprise? The advantage of Enterprise is simply that I think they'll give you a bunch of cool options that you don't have to worry about. Like give you a lot of different ways to manage your code and manage your Terraform workflow that you don't have to manage. So yeah, their infrastructure and stuff. Most open source tools have, most tools have, something like this, have some type of enterprise offering. Maybe I'll check it out. I've actually never used Terraform Cloud at all. So maybe we can try it out. Maybe we'll try it out. I don't know. Okay, let's set up this state locking real quick with S3, and all you really have to do it's actually pretty simple. All you have to do is basically tell it where to go to lock the state. So where was the page that we were on? Terraform S3 backend. When you were saying that CloudFormation is much less useful than Terraform, why was I saying that? So it's not much less useful. It is not. That's not true. If it only is if you are doing things outside of AWS. So one, CloudFormation is AWS specific, but if you're managing AWS, if your company is only doing things in AWS, and you're planning on staying there, either one is fine to choose. But the advantage of learning Terraform or adopting Terraform over AWS is simply that once you learn Terraform and the way that Terraform works, you can then apply it to whatever service or tool that you want to apply it to. Once you get further down the line, even if there's no compatibility yet for it, you can write a provider to make it compatible. So that's a really cool thing, and you don't have to learn another tool. Two is that Terraform is just overly verbose and complicated not complicated, but it's not fun to write, and it's not very readable. It's really annoying. And yes, multiple providers like Azure or GCP. So yes, CloudFormation is AWS only, so you can't take any of those concepts and apply it elsewhere, but you can with Terraform. Yeah, and I mean that's the biggest thing, is just the usefulness of it. The Terraform is a Swiss Army knife. It can do so much, and yes, CloudFormation works. Again, the only benefit I really see to CloudFormation is the only strong benefit I see to CloudFormation is because it's AWS focused, it's managed by AWS, that when AWS comes out with new services, generally support for that new service or new updates to services comes out for Terraform first. But I mean, not for Terraform, comes out for CloudFormation first. But how often are you immediately adopting brand new services from cloud providers? And then usually Terraform's not far behind at all with getting updated to be able to work with that. So yeah, it's not much less useful if you're staying inside AWS, but if you're doing anything else, then it is a lot less useful. And again, just harder to read, harder to write. So therefore it's harder to use. And it's slower to do deploys, and the management of CloudFormation stacks, super trash. I think super trash, but yeah. When you're creating those instances, what VPCs and security groups are being used by default? None, or does it create them? Great question. It does create, it creates security groups the same way that it would create a random launch wizard security group. If you did it through the launch wizard, if I went through and clicked through, it will basically create a default security group. Yes, so it's absolutely creating, it's using a default VPC. So whenever you create an AWS account, you get access to a default VPC that's basically set up for your services to get out to the web. And so all of these will have the exact same, everything that I have spun up will have the same VPC. Just a little preview on some of what we'll be doing on the last day. So Wednesday of next week, we'll be creating a custom VPC with custom subnets and things like that, multiple VPCs actually, but all these I believe are in the exact same VPC. Where is that VPC ID? I would struggle. VPC ID, so 28CD, and let's see about the other ones. They should all be in 28CD, 28CD, and 28CD. Yep, that's the one that we get by default. I'm using Terraform so I can stop using CloudFormation as much as I do. Absolutely. And CloudFormation is also very hard to deploy. It's very hard to manage and deploy multiple templates. Like it's very difficult. It's like there's not a lot of good tools. You got to learn a whole new tool to be able to like manage a repo of CloudFormation templates, whereas Terraform kind of handles that by default for you. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, this DynamoDB table. So we're gonna set up a DynamoDB table real quick, just to make sure that this works. I've only actually ever done this once. Should be pretty easy, I'm hoping. I don't know what the table needs. It should only need like one thing, but we're gonna find out real quick. We'll find out right now. But for the configuration of state locking, if again, you have to check to make sure that your backend does in fact include the ability to lock state. So with locking via DynamoDB, they're letting you know right up front that it's with a different service. And so as you go through them, it will tell you these things. So etcd has no state locking. etcd v3 has state locking. Console has state locking. And these are just some of the common ones. Again, like I said, I have never used Terraform Enterprise. Obviously, is going to, I was gonna say obviously has state locking, but standard with no locking. But there are also enhanced backends as well, but like not a big deal. I don't know what some of these are. What is OSS? Oh, Alibaba Cloud. Okay, so Alibaba Cloud and HTTP. This is cool. Using a simple REST client, so we could, it sounds like we could create our own REST client to be able to manage locking and unlocking state. That's cool. That's cool. We can create our own for that. Nice. GCS, this is Google Cloud Storage. So if we want to do some stuff with Google, so a lot of options here. And it's interesting because some of these other ones, you know, with locking, it just says with locking, so it's easier. You can kind of just set it up in here. But again, for us, for S3, we need to be able to lock it in. Jerome Dev, state locking is basically where it makes the state, it locks the state so that if let's say multiple people are trying to make changes at once, you don't want multiple people to be able to update that state while things are being deployed. And so what it does is it basically allows someone to kind of check that state out to say, hey, I'm deploying something right now, the state is currently locked, so no one else can make any writable changes to this until I release that lock. And again, this keeps people from like who are working on, you know, distributed teams who are working on this in the same repo, the same infrastructure, from destroying their state file. So while my stuff is deploying, that state can be locked so that nobody can modify it while my stuff is, you know, finishing out. And then the next person can go. And so if you try to deploy, basically what will happen is if you try to deploy, it'll try to grab the lock. If you have locking enabled, it'll try to basically grab the lock, put a lock on it. If it cannot put a lock on it, that probably means it's already locked, and it'll say, hey, you can't really do that, and it'll basically stop you from making any writable changes to that state. So you can't basically, you just can't deploy any infrastructure until that lock is removed. You can, like I said, manually unlock that, but like you shouldn't do that. That's only to be done in extreme emergencies. You need to know exactly what you're doing if you do that. But yeah, it just helps for multiple people who are working on the same infrastructure to be able to work on it without stepping on each other's toes. And so DynamoDB is what we're going to use. And so it says, hey, the backend supports state locking and consistency checking via DynamoDB, which can be enabled by setting the Dynamo table field to an existing DynamoDB table. I don't already have one, but I'm going to add one really quick. A single DynamoDB table can be used to lock multiple remote state files. Terraform generates key names that include the values of state and bucket. So this is good to know. Maybe you have different, I don't know, different pieces of infrastructure, different repositories that are handling different things. You can use a single DynamoDB table to manage multiple state files. So that's really nice. You don't need a new table for each one for that. And so I simply need to add in this parameter, which is the DynamoDB table. There's only one other option. And so I don't have a table, but I'm about to make one, but I need to know what it needs really quick. And I think it's down here somewhere. State locking, custom endpoint. I don't think we need this custom endpoint, but I think we do need this. The table must have a primary key named lock ID of type string. If not configured, state locking will be disabled. I don't know if that's all we need, but I'm going to set that up right now really quick. So DynamoDB is an interesting tool. It's not super easy to use in the beginning, just because of if you're not familiar with primary and partition keys and understanding how those work with, you know, adding a sort key and being able to properly work with your data. It can be tough, but you can learn all these things. Amazon has a lot of documentation on what these things mean. And so we'll call this Hoist Terraform. That's what we'll call this table right here. What's up, P the Dev? Good to have you. Welcome to the channel. Thank you for the follow. And it needs to have a partition key of, what did it tell me? I feel like I was just looking somewhere else and now it took me right back up top, but it needs to have a partition key of primary key of lock ID. lowercase lock, capital ID, and it needs to be of type string, I believe is what it said. All right, and I will use the default settings, and so we'll just create a table. So now you know, this is just a resource that Amazon provides for me, and it's a table that I can push data to and read data from. So I'm gonna give Hoist Terraform as the name in my code now. And I actually already forgot what the parameter was that we needed. And the parameter that we need is DynamoDB table. And we're gonna add that into the back end configuration. So DynamoDB table. And we're gonna put the table in there. So I'm actually gonna put it underneath key. DynamoDB underscore table equals, and we know this looks gross, but we know formatting is gonna fix this for us. And Hoist dash Terraform. All right, is what we want here. So take a look at it. We're gonna save it. We're gonna Terraform validate. Great. We're gonna Terraform thumped, and it's gonna change our main.tf and take a look at how it made these nice and readable, very beautiful. Line them all up properly. Really like that. And now if we do a Terraform, we might have to end it again. Can never remember. But I think we do have to Terraform in it really quick. And detected a change. No valid credentials again. Oh, I forgot we exited out of that because it like froze. So let's end it again. All right, so it reinitialized properly. Everything's looking good. And now if we are to apply a change, let's actually see if it put anything in the Dynamo table. And so in Dynamo, you can actually items. It probably doesn't have anything in here right now. But let's see what happens. So if Dynamo is not configured properly, it basically just won't use it. But let's go ahead and see what happens if we make a change to what we have. And so what I'm going to do is dev instances. Let's go ahead and change the variables.tf again. Let's keep everything the same, and let's say we want to change up the tags here. So internal development, let's just call it Hoist development instead. And so we'll make a change here, and we will do a Terraform apply. And it lets us know that, hey, I'm not going to add anything, but I'm going to make 2 changes because you have 2 instances. I'm not going to destroy anything, but we need to change the tags that are here. And I type in yes. And so let's say this was a change that was bigger, where we need to do some type of destroy or something. This is where it would actually lock. So it locks it anyway, but this is where it would actually go and lock. So like if it was something that was going to take a little bit, this is where the lock would be super beneficial, and it would go and lock that and say, hey, I'm basically making infrastructure changes, but I haven't written what I needed to write yet. I don't know if things are going to properly work, and I need to lock this file so that no one else can make any changes to it. It'll make its changes once everything's good to go. Once everything comes back green, once everything's complete, it will then release that lock. You can also create manual locks if you'd like, so that no one can, you can make basically your state file read only. If you want to make sure no changes are made, that's great. And like I said, you can also forcibly unlock if you want as well. But those are bad things to do. I want you to know that you can do it, but those are bad things to do. But if we did this right, look at that. It pushes information into this DynamoDB table. So now we do have a lock ID here. DevOps will do it live, and it sets up a hash for us, a digest for us. And again, this thing will evolve over time for us to do, to use. What's up, Aya? What's up, Crumbs? It was taken. But yeah, that is that's essentially it. So this table will kind of sit here. This will be the thing that, it'll generate this hash every time something needs to happen. Like, take a look at the numbers here, and I'll make another change and I'll refresh it. Let's do this again, and let's make something that's going to make a big change just for fun. And let's actually make it a T3 small instead of a micro. And let's apply it again. And so, because this is going to change the entire instance size, take a look at all the things that should change. Wait, hold on. Huh. Hold on. That's interesting. This used to could not be done in place. It seems like this can be done in place now. Let me check something out real quick. Let me check something out. Don't run this. This is hold on. This is exciting, actually. What if I do something a little bit larger? If I change the whole type, like if I do T2 medium, let's see what happens here. So in my mind, not in my mind, usually what happens if you change the instance size is maybe if I change the class, it would have to tear it down and spin it back up. I wonder how new this is. I just haven't dealt with managing instances in a while because we do a lot of serverless / ECS stuff. So maybe this has been a thing for a while, but this is kind of cool. What if I change it to like a what if I change it to like a C3? Yeah, maybe that'd be really cool, but that doesn't seem like a Terraform thing would have been able to change that. This seems like an AWS update would have been able to do this. What if I do like a M3 large? I'm not really going to do an M3 large because it's going to cost me a lot of money, but it just feels like at least if I change the type, it's got to rip it down. I wonder if it shows you it shows it to you as a change, but this seems that's wrong. That's wrong. All right, let's change it to a small so it doesn't cost me a lot of money, and let's see what it actually does because I'm very interested to see now. Let's change it back to a T3, a T3 small. I want to do a medium. Let's do a medium, but I need to remember to destroy it because mediums aren't cheap. All right, let's apply it. And let's see what happens. I expected to see one add and one destroy, but it's just gonna switch it up for us, and it has two servers that's gonna need to change from a T3 micro to a T3 medium. Oh, whoops, you gotta type in yes and not just Y. You can also, I always forget the string that you can put in, but you can add in a string to, it's like auto validate or something, or like auto accept or something. But I always forget what that is. This has to take much longer. Still modifying. Let's check out EC2. It's got to be doing a build and destroy. Has to be. Yeah, like oh, what is it? It's probably, it's not terminating them, it's stopping them and resizing them. Interesting. That is interesting. This is definitely, you're right. It might be a Terraform change, in the way that it interacts with the API. A change or a change to the provider. Very interesting. That's phenomenal. I like that. What's great about that is you don't, there's now no change in IP addresses or anything like that. This is really nice. It's gonna be weird if this has like been around for a long time. I didn't know. This is great. Yeah, size change, at least when I first started learning Terraform, if you were to change the instance type, it would destroy the current instance and spin you up another one completely. So this one actually turns it down, modifies the size and spins it back up. That's dope. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. It's really fast. It's much faster. Dope. Okay, but also what you can see is I already got away from that DynamoDB thing, but you can kind of see that the checksum that's generated would have changed, but now you can't see that because, yeah, whatever. Great. That is it. That's all we got. What's up, Maddox? How you doing? What's up, Swonder? Yeah, maybe fix it. We can look it up. All right, with the last 9 minutes real quick, let's see if we can figure out modules TF vars. Let's see if we can figure out why our TF vars are not working as they do when we're not using a module. How to use TF vars with modules. So this person looks like they try to do what we try to do. And let's see, adjust the structure. This is the understanding of the application. Put TF vars in all of them. So maybe they have to source module code to use the share module Apollo. Terraform plan. Oh, maybe I do have to actually, use, like, pass it in? Huh. Maybe I do. Maybe you are completely right. I think Sin City, I think you're the person who put that in there. Maybe I do have to do that. I didn't think you had to do that though. I didn't think that was necessary, but we're about to find out. Main.tf variable. I'll define. Oh, or do I have to define it in the module like this? Interesting. Maybe I have to do that. I don't think I knew that. Yeah. Might be easier to just put it in the module. Okay, so maybe that's a paradigm that you're not supposed to do. I've never done it, but it feels like you're supposed to be able to do it. Main.tf resource group .tf. Got it working. Yeah, it looks like you just put it in the module instead. That's interesting. That is interesting. So let's actually modify it in that way. So I'm actually gonna copy blog.ts var. Actually, no, I don't need to copy. I can just look at it. And let's just make sure that that works. We can do the overriding there. That seems like your code's now a little messier than I would want in my main.tf, but makes sense. Makes sense, I think. But I think there are other ways to do this. Maybe we just always set default values. I gotta look back at our Terraform. We mainly use CloudFormation for most things. And another team who helps us with some of this stuff does most of the Terraform. But let's, so basically you can set it here instead. So like for blogs and terraform.tf vars, I could instead do this bucket equals Hoist Media blog site, and I could do tag name. I wonder if I can, I just want to see if I can do this and remove the defaults and see if it works. So I'll keep them all the same, just so there's going to be no change. Environment. All right, and what I'll do next is I will rm-rf blog terraform.tf vars. I will also remove the defaults for blog vars.tf, and I will remove that, and that. Okay, and let's see if I do a Terraform apply, there should be no changes. Unsupported, that's because I spelled environment wrong. That's good to know. You should spell things right if you can. Whoa. All right, that's, oh, wait, undo. There we go. And does everything stay the same? Excellent, everything stays the same. So you can see here, that it's going out and it's checking state, making sure, you know, it's checking against that state file that we set up for our backend, and it says everything's good, no changes need to be made. That's great. That means you can set them up like that. I am still pretty sure you can use a TF-vars file in a module. I'm pretty sure. I don't think, I just think I'm just not doing it right, because I do not think we do this right here. I don't think we do this, but I will check to confirm. But yes, that's it. That's it for tonight. I'll give you a few minutes back, but not really, because it's going to take us a little bit to wrap up and do our tangible takeaways for tonight. But what are our tangible takeaways for this evening? They are simply that state is very, very important in Terraform, and that you need state to be able to properly, for Terraform to properly manage, you know, your infrastructure in the way that you want to manage it. But Terraform is usually used across teams, you know, in a distributed nature, the same way, you know, when you're developing infrastructure as code, the same way that you might be developing an application, you know, at different places at different times. You might have multiple people developing on these things at the same time. So what state allows us to do is both track and understand the changes to our infrastructure, as well as be able to properly get our infrastructure from the current state into the state that's described in the code. But that can easily get out of whack when, again, you have multiple people working in different places on the same code. And so managing state in a location that's accessible by everyone, not locally, by changing the back end. So by default, the back end of Terraform is local, and it saves that state file locally to your computer. By changing the back end to something else like S3 or some other storage service in Azure or GCP, or using Console or etcd or some other service that they've done some work on, there's a list of them, to use as your backend, you can now use this thing to both manage and apply your state to your infrastructure. And it's pretty important. But not only can you use this outside tool to do that, this kind of remote location to save your state, but you can also use tools to lock that state. And locking the state is what really allows you to keep to ensure that your state file remains as, keeps the most integrity and remains as functional as possible, because it means that only a single person can be making writable changes to that infrastructure at a time. And it is, again, super duper helpful. We touched on that the remote backends a little bit. Remote backends are more so for very large infrastructures where deploys take very long amounts of time. It allows you to basically execute these things not from your local computer, but allow them to be executed remotely. Not super important to know right now, but like I said, one of the most common ways to do it in Amazon, if you are using Amazon for anything, S3 is the common way to do that. To do state locking, you have to use DynamoDB for state locking. So state locking is available, but it does require a different service to do so. The other thing, yeah, I actually think they asked that on the Terraform exam as well. If you were interested in doing that, they do ask you some stuff about S3 and state locking, specifically because I think that's the only one. I think that's the only backend that requires a separate tool from outside of what the backend provided already is. But yes, let's take this, let's push it up. Our Terraform code is growing. It's getting bigger and bigger, and so we have this main.tf file that now has a provider, our Terraform backend, and is calling our modules with a few outputs. So we've almost covered all of the core functionality of Terraform, to be honest. And again, a lot of what you've learned, if you were to go back and look at some of this, a lot of it has been AWS stuff rather than Terraform stuff itself. The Terraform stuff has actually been, it's fairly simple. And so I'll actually go through and I'll format this real quick so it's a little bit better. And then let's go ahead and let's push this stuff up to GitHub in case you all want to grab it. Git ignore and git status. It should not be including our Terraform.tf state, but obviously that's wrong. Who is a DevOps engineer too? So I think I'm a 2. I'm a 2 or 3. I can't remember for my company. That changes everywhere depending on what you do, depending on what they require of you. Yeah, it changes. Usually it's some type of combination between you know, some type like years of experience plus like outside of, usually it's outside of core technical skills, usually some type of management or experience that might start to move you up through the higher ranks of, you know, what the DevOps engineer numbers are. Same thing with software. It's kind of arbitrary at every company you go to. I don't remember what my level is at my company. They're pretty open to what, like, so I think at Fearless there's 1, 2, and 3, and then there are a bunch of steps in between there. So like you can be a DevOps engineer 2, level 3, and that may be equivalent, that may be almost equivalent or equivalent to DevOps engineer level 1, but like step like 9 or something like that. Really weird. It's an interesting thing. It works well. They're like messing around with a couple different things. It was just 1 through 5 at first. Now they're trying this, and they're going through a couple different iterations to kind of see what works well for classifying engineers. But most places it's gonna be DevOps engineer with a, you know, I would probably say 5 to 7 years of experience. Well, probably more like maybe like 4 to 6 years of experience on, you know, on a couple of the different things, managing infrastructure. I don't know. That's a very general statement, but yeah. Why is my get ignore? Oh, because I did modify. TF state is already there, but it should still be ignoring it, but not a big deal. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to add literally everything because YOLO. Yeah, all right. Git commit -m added variables to modules, as well as changed to S3 backend with state locking. Sure. And we'll push that up, so if anybody wants it, now you got it. Or you can grab it. And if you, what is that big that we push up that is that heavy? One local object. What is? Oh, this is that Terraform folder. This should be part of our git ignore as well. Yes. Oh man. Whack. Git. I'm gonna have to. What is it? Git history. No. Git log. I'm going to have to get check out. Whoa. No. Q. Let's check out this one. Ocean Master. We'll check this back out. But then I'm gonna lose all my stuff. I will fix this. I will remove this and push it. I need to get the .terraform stuff out of there. And so what is it? Git RM. It's not gonna stop following it if I do this. But let's see, it might. And m remove. I think it's still gonna try to push because it's still in the last commit. I'm gonna have to do some fanciness to get this out of here without losing all my stuff, I think. But that's why we need to do a sweet Git tutorial, because Git is pretty it can be annoying. It's really great, but it can be really annoying. Removed Terraform .terraform folder, and might still happen. Yep. I was like, why is there so much stuff in there? All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to fix that. No big deal. What is that big though? Like, is the provider that is 140 megabytes? Oh, okay. It's the provider. Okay, not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. Even though I deleted it from this, in the way that the commits work. And now I guess I'm 2 commits behind. Head of master. Yep. So that last commit is still here. I'll have to pop that off and do some weirdness. We don't really need to spend time doing that right now at all. But I will get that up shortly. I'm also, now that I remembered, I'm pulling it up right now so that I can put the titles on these YouTube videos for anyone who needs to watch the old ones. I'll pull it up right now just so it's in my face so that I can finally remember to do it. Cool, so that's there. But yeah, who are we gonna head over and raid tonight, this beautiful evening? Let's see. First off, I didn't even know, does YouTube have a non-light theme? That's a real question. Does it? What's up, large dog? We you caught us at the very end, but it's good to see your name. I'm glad you're here. It's good to feel your presence. Good to have you. Can you make YouTube dark theme? Well, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to compute. Oh, it's right here. It's right here. Swag. I didn't know that this was a thing. I don't know if I like it though. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I like it. It's so funny how, like, so I have 2 premium YouTubes. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about why. But it's always so interesting about what is seen. Like, this is not what it looks like. It's, you know, see, it's weight gain. Okay. It's always interesting to see what different stuff, like cars and stuff over here. And then this is the one that I don't really use for anything. And I look up like bike stuff, and then it like gives me the weirdest. One of them gives me like super weird stuff, and it's always interesting to see the differences that come up on each one. But yeah, I don't know. But that's it. Where we're going to raid. I don't know why we got on that tangent. Let's see. Oops, I didn't mean to move that. Who's on? Oh, you know, Prime. What's up? Hey, Key Lime TV, what's up? What's up? My schedule changed at work, so I never really get a chance. That I'm very sorry to hear that, but again, it is, you know, it's always good. Again, these old friends. What's up, Key Lime? I hope you're doing well. Hope it works well. I hope the schedule change is beneficial. You know, it can be tough, but yeah, you can suggest. A Wang. Let's check out who A Wang is first, because that's really funny. But cool, this makes sense. JavaScript data science, absolutely, that makes perfect sense. Until we get jobs. Oh, I like this. Absolutely, this is where we're heading. Appreciate that Crumbs was taken. That's a great channel to go to. So let's go ahead and tune in with them. Let's say hello. Let's also give them some support because they're streaming until they get jobs. And yeah, you know, maybe we can help them out. I don't know how we can help them out, but maybe we can help them out. Let's see. And A Wang is easy to type. it's very easy to type, but absolutely spam those emotes. I love it. This is pretty cool. I'm definitely gonna stick around for a while and see what we can learn. But again, thanks again, everyone. Hope you all have a great night. We'll be back again on Monday with some more stuff. Tune in tomorrow. We're continuing to build our application. Tomorrow we're going to get into more of the application architecture and sitting down and really planning it out. Now that we've kind of touched a lot of the technologies, kind of got a grasp on GraphQL to understand how we might want to move forward with it. But yeah, let's get over there and say hello. Peace out.